Please welcome Shirlane McCrae, First Lady of New York City.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to say thank you to the UN Foundation of Mashable for bringing so many change makers together in one place. I love this. And thank you to the 92nd Street Y for being such gracious hosts. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. How many of you have traveled here from outside the country? Raise your hands. Okay, all right. Let me see how many of you are from other states. Can you put your hands up? Okay, impressive. Well, welcome everyone to New York City. We all come from different places, we all have different backgrounds, and we all do different kinds of work. But whether you're a techie or a health writer, a chef working to end hunger, an advocate for girls' education, or the Prime Minister of New Zealand, we all have joyful moments and painful struggles as humans. And there are inevitable challenges that we all must navigate. Am I right? That's right. For food, water, shelter, freedom, equity, and opportunity, and safety. That's what brings us together. Am I right? Yeah. I can't hear you. Am I right? Yeah. Well, that's what Agenda 2030 is all about. And I want to talk to you about mental health, which is deeply connected to everything that all of you work on. And of course, it touches on our personal lives too. It has certainly touched on mine. When I was growing up, I believe my parents suffered from undiagnosed depression. And diseases like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and alcoholism are all part of my family's health history too. One of my cousins suffered from PTSD, and another relative died from suicide. Now, that may seem like a lot. I used to think, well, that's a lot of suffering for one family. But the statistic is 1 in 5. 1 in 5 people suffers from a mental health challenge in any given year. Since I come from a large extended family, the math actually works out. My family is no different from others. So let me take a quick poll. How many of you know someone who has been affected by mental illness or a substance use disorder? Can you please raise your hand? Look around. Look around. Every hand should be up. If your hand's not up, no, you may not know your family or friends as well as you think you do. Or they may just not feel comfortable confiding in you. Although mental health challenges are extremely common, our response as individuals, as families, as governments, as a global community has been woefully inadequate. Decades and decades of systemic neglect has been harmful to most parts of society, and too many families still don't know where to turn for help, just as mine didn't. They keep their problems hidden, often to protect the people they care about from judgment and shame. And it's not just families stuck in old behaviors. Government's approach to mental illness has historically been rooted in the out of sight, out of mind principle, locking people up far from the folks who love them and the communities where they grew up. Today in New York City, as many as 40% of people detained in our jails have a mental health-related challenge. That's not happenstance. It's a direct result of policies that promote stigma and punishment, the same kind of policies that re-traumatize survivors of gender-based violence by forcing them out of their homes, out of their communities, into isolation. The same policies that treat students with behavioral issues as problems instead of children in need of extra support. Together, we can change this. We can change the way we work and create a culture of healing and wellness. But we all have to do our part. We've taken on this challenge in New York City with Thrive NYC. We are creating a system of mental health care where there was none, with a single point of entry. We are reaching a huge number of people, including those not likely to be seen. And we're training a whole new generation of professionals to be culturally competent and holistic in their approach. We know that we cannot be as effective or achieve the progress we seek in education, sexual assault, immigration, disaster recovery, criminal justice reform, or in any policy area unless we also address mental health. I'm so excited to share Thrive NYC, our public health approach to mental health, with all of you, because I strongly believe it can help guide us to a 2030 where we can build emotional resilience in our children, where we can prevent people from becoming so seriously ill, and where we can help those struggling with treatable diseases feel less alone and have access to the resources and support they need. Now, Thrive NYC is grounded in 6 core principles that can be adapted to any city or community. And I'd like it if you could repeat them after me. Can you do that? Yeah. All right. The 6 principles are: change the culture, act early, close treatment gaps, partner with communities, use data better, position government to lead. All of our Thrive programs reflect one or more of those 6 principles. Guided by these principles, we are testing new ideas, launching innovative programs, and going further than any other government. And we are seeing early signs of progress. Because of Thrive NYC, New Yorkers who struggle with a mental health condition now have an easy way to connect to information and care. Anyone can connect to our helpline for free in multiple languages. By calling, texting, or going online, they can talk with a trained counselor or a peer, make an appointment with a therapist, or even learn how to help a loved one. It's a starting point for thousands of people who would have no idea of what to do to help themselves or someone they care about. We're also bringing services and care to people where they live, where they learn, where they worship, and where they go to work. A low-income working mother struggling with depression is not likely to seek treatment on her own. In fact, people wait an average of 10 years before seeking help. But what if one day when she picks up her son at daycare, that mother is able to be identified by a staffer who sees her what her needs are, someone who can connect her to a local clinical care provider. One of our programs is training staff at community-based organizations to do exactly that. Our goal is to make sure people have access to care wherever they are. And we are building capacity and skills in places outside the traditional health system, inspired by leaders in places like Zimbabwe and Haiti. We know that teachers, faith leaders, police officers, and homeless shelter workers all engage with people with mental health needs on a daily basis. So we're giving them the skills and resources to be clinical, non-clinical providers. We can all benefit, though, by having these skills. When we were growing up, few, if any of us, learned about the different types of mental illnesses. So we don't know the right words or language to use. We don't know how to identify symptoms, and we don't know how to help people in need. Many of us know what to do if someone's bleeding or choking, but most of us don't have a clue about what to do if someone is having a panic attack. Thrive NYC is meeting that challenge by training New Yorkers to be certified non-clinical responders with a course called Mental Health First Aid that was first developed in Australia. We adapted it to fit our city's needs and are now offering it to New Yorkers for free. We've already trained 75,000 New Yorkers because we want as many people as possible to be mental health helpers and healers in their families and their communities. Because after all, no one knows our family members better than we do. Am I right? Yeah, that's right. So with a little education, we can make sure that people get the treatment and care they need before they have a crisis. That's why our vision for 2030 requires all of us to step up. The Sustainable Development Goals mark the first time world leaders formally recognize the importance of addressing mental illness and substance use challenges. That's a big deal. But it won't matter unless every one of us actively plays a role in the solution. So no matter what kind of work you do, the mental health of your workers or the people you serve has implications for the progress you're striving to make. If you are a journalist, you can ask questions about the mental health implications of government policies and use responsible language to cover mental illness and addiction. If you are a philanthropist, you can fund new ideas and researchers to build a better evidence base. If you are an elected official, you have the power to make mental health a priority. We need each and every able person to step up in their own lives. Demand a mental health plan from your leaders. Take a course in mental health first aid. Share your own mental health story. That's how we change the culture. That's how we win the fight for our lives. My therapist once told me that she'd never heard anyone talk about mental health with so much joy. And it's true. I feel it now. It makes me so happy to share all this with you, share this opportunity that we have to correct the failures of the past and chart a new path for our future. We have the science. We have the evidence-based models. We can create a culture of healing and wellness if we all do our part. I'm going to keep on doing everything that I can, and I just want to know one thing. Are you with me? Yes. Thank you. Thank you.